I've been thinking about getting a new one of these. This is a clapperboard. I did talk about it on a previous vlog, but that was at a time when I couldn't access my video editor for, I think it was because of NVIDIA drivers. Blame NVIDIA. But because I couldn't access my video editor, and my graphics card wasn't working properly as a result of the drivers being dodgy, the clapperboard episode actually ended up being a little useless because, well, I couldn't demonstrate the whole point of the clapperboard. That episode was totally out of sync, and I was talking about how a clapperboard is supposed to keep your videos in sync. Didn't really work out. So this is kind of take two of that. Well, there's not really much to explain about them. Clapperboards, they are a film tool, and they are designed so that you can sync up your video and audio. And how they work is that, well, they make a loud clapping noise when you clap them together. Ready? Ow, that hurt. So that's one part of the equation, but the other part is these lines on the front. They you match up the sound, the sharp sound of the clap, to the visual of these lines being perfect chevron shapes meeting up in the middle, and that's how they work. So they're quite clever, really. It's a simple but effective solution to syncing up your video and audio. I'm not exactly sure what these are for. I've never ever filled them in myself. In fact, I've not often used this thing until I started making the vlogs and finding out that the webcam and the camera aren't always, the microphone aren't always in sync. But I think you can kind of get the picture. So production number, that'll be an internal identifier of what film you're making. Scene, that's well, the scene, the number of the scene you're taking. The take number, so this will be take 1 because I'm doing it all in one take. But there are some vlogs where I've started recording and then said, right, no, let's start that again. And so when I start again, that would then be take 2. Not entirely sure what roll is. I think that's the literal roll of film you're using. Not sure how that would help, really, because you'd know which roll of film you're using because, well, it would be... You'd have to have it to see the clip that you're looking at, but whatever, maybe it's just for administrative purposes. Date, oh, no idea what that could be, haven't a clue. Production code, I don't, no idea. Sound, that'll be the reel of, well, it'll be wherever your audio's coming from. So if I had my mic recording to a separate audio file, I could number that file and then say, right, the sound belongs to like number 3 or whatever. The director, well, that would be Luna Looney. Cameraman would also be Luna Looney. So that's the various bits and pieces. Now here's the trouble. This is not an actual... I mean, it is a clapperboard because it functions as a clapperboard. You can't really argue that it's not, but it's not meant for serious work. It was a souvenir. I think it was from the Media Museum in Bradford. I think it cost me like a £5, and it kind of shows that it's not really a quality piece of... Well, it's not for filming. I got it because it was cool, and partly to use it, but you know, there's a few problems with it. I mean, this bit's fine. I could probably write in chalk on that and it'd be okay, but the material doesn't really seem suited for the purpose. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It seems like some sort of metal. But maybe it's just plastic and sort of given a metallic... I don't know. Maybe it's plastic. Probably plastic. And so writing on it with chalk, well, it'd be hard work, wouldn't it? Might stain the thing, I don't know. But the big trouble is that these lines don't actually meet, and the hinge is kind of, well, it's not very smooth. You can get it all the way up, and that's fine, and it looks okay, but you'll notice that it keeps stopping there. It does actually have a bit of a bump, so when I push it down, you'll see, well, you probably won't be able to see, but I can feel the bump when it hits that point. So it's not a smooth motion. And because it's not, it's quite a tight fit, I could probably loosen these up if I really wanted to, but it's quite tight, and so I have to give it some real force to make it clap, which means that invariably when I do the clapping, well, I'll do a freeze frame here so you can see what it looks like. That was probably one of the better attempts at that, but you know, it's always kind of blurry, and so I can't exactly see when those two things meet up. Particularly since they don't actually meet up properly. You can see there's a gap. You can see my eyes through there. Wow, that is a serious gap, and that's the best I can get it. But yeah, I can see that there's a gap. You probably can't now, but you'll just have to trust me on it. So I have looked at clapper boards. They're not cheap. They are surprisingly not cheap. They are if you look on eBay, but they're still about 15 quid for a standard one. They tend to have colours, so instead of just having black and white, they've got various colours along this. I can't remember the constituent parts. Well, let's refer to this as the clapper and this is the board, shall we? Because you can get them separately. I didn't realise that, but you can get the clapping bit. The sticks, I think it's just called the sticks. They can be bought as a separate unit, and then you can buy the board separately to attach to the sticks. And you can get them personalised. The personalised ones are like 50 quid minimum, and that's for one that's like half the size of this. They're really tiny, and it would do the job, but you know, you want something that you can actually hold in your hand and is going to be, you know, easy to use. So, and the other difference is instead of being black and being like a chalkboard, they are whiteboards. So you can use dry erase pens on them, and it's a bit more practical, I think. Easier to rub out, less like, well, chalk on a chalkboard. Doesn't sound nice, does it? Whiteboard pens are much nicer. So that is a possibility. I don't know if it'll help, because there's still the human element of having to hold a thing and having to brace against myself. So maybe it'll still be blurry. I don't know. I wouldn't know unless I tried. As a result, this one's probably fine for now, and maybe a new clapperboard would be a low priority thing, but you know, maybe that's something I can look at in the future. Anyway, that's all from me for today. You have had a successful clapperboard episode now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Wait, let's try that again. A bit closer. Here we go.